Welcome back to the Kieser Report. I'm Max Kieser. Time now to turn to Gabriel Abed. He's the co-founder and CEO of Bit, a Barbados-based crypto fintech company making waves in the Caribbean. Gabriel, welcome.
Hi, Max. Thank you for having me on the show.
It's great to have you on the show because we get to travel around the world and find out what's happening in crypto in different places, and Barbados has suddenly become a hotspot in crypto. Tell us why.
Barbados is seeing a lot of uplift from foreign companies coming in and setting up on our shores for tax optimization purposes, beautiful beaches, relatively stable economy. But it's actually Bermuda right now that's starting to become the mover and shaker in the Pan-Caribbean. As a matter of fact, to be quite honest, it's the entire Caribbean starting to bubble. You're starting to see St. Lucia, Anguilla, Antigua. Many islands are starting to rise up towards and having appreciation towards this technology because of the value incentives that it offers.
There are other territories competing to be a go-to destination for the crypto industry. Obviously, in Puerto Rico, they're making a big play for this. And in Singapore, there's a lot of activity, and hotspots in Europe. So in the Caribbean now, you mentioned that there are tax advantages, as there would be in Ireland, for example. Ireland attracts a lot of companies for the tax advantage and the beautiful beaches. And I understand that even the government in these areas are becoming quite pro-crypto, correct?
Yes. So just to correct something that we said, I'm definitely the founder of Bit, one of the founders. I'm no longer CEO. I would be focusing now on more working with various central banks around the world. So
is that why you're wearing the camo? Because you're now the armed wing of the Bitcoin community, taking on the banks in hand-to-hand combat?
Well, actually, this was a gift from a friend, and I wore all white. So it wasn't good for the cameras. So
I see. That's the cover story? I don't really believe it. I know that there's some shenanigans going on, but tell us more. Continue. Don't mean to interrupt.
Well, you know, in the shenanigans, a lot of folly's been happening in the Caribbean region. I mean, it's the reason why we built Bit, was to start allowing the region to have more of a unified currency-based system, or a financial sector. Right now, we're talking about a nation that's plagued with multiple currencies, high remittance costs, high settlement times, a high unbanked population. The underbanked in the region is actually quite upsetting.
All right, you recently presented a speech to the Bermuda monetary authorities on central bank digital dollars. Tell us about that.
Typically, when you introduce central bank digital currencies to central bankers, it goes quite over their head initially. So a big part of the process at Bit is to educate central banks on the importance of this technology and what it can do for them, from a perception of the seigniorage, the cash optimization, from cash creation, the point of where central banks, yes, in their inflationary world, print money. And that actual printing of money has both a cost, and a resource-based cost, and an economic cost. Of course, it also misses out some of the key points that we want as citizens, which is accountability and transparency. And so you start to educate these guys that blockchain and Bitcoin isn't a scary monster. It's something that you can wrap your head around. As a matter of fact, central banks can embrace it to build a parallel to that world so that you can actually start transitioning into the modern age of technology.
How's that dialogue going? You opened the...
Excellent, excellent. Bit.com has been successful with a few central banks in the region, most specifically the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. And why that's important, Max, is because the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank is a currency union of 8 islands. So that one central bank being a pilot and a test zone for a central bank digital currency allows for islands to settle in between themselves. Another thing that you may not know...
All right, inter-island settlement.
Yes.
Facilitated by blockchain, which they've not had before, I guess, with that kind of efficiency. So you're an archipelago, I believe is the phrase that would work in this case, a group of islands.
Yes, yes.
And so uniquely, you need to have the blockchain kind of clearing trades in these different territories.
And previously, they would have gone through other jurisdictions to do these clearing of trades.
Right, so that's a huge benefit. So they see cost advantages.
Not just cost advantages, time advantages, economic uplift, GDP growth. Unbanked citizens can now become banked because penetration rates of smartphones are over 100% in some of the islands.
So now stablecoin is what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
So the stablecoin is a subset of the whole crypto space.
Yes.
And it's the idea that, we've had Tether. Tether is a dollar surrogate, if you will, that's crypto, and that's kind of a stable coin.
Yes.
So tell us about that a little bit. Explore that.
Well, this provides facilitation to avoid volatility for those that wish to have the advantages of sending and receiving a digital dollar without what could be perceived as a disadvantage in the crypto space of the volatility. So what a stablecoin accomplishes is the ability to transact digital fiat.
Are you bringing in a new stablecoin? Is Bit the stablecoin?
Well, Bit itself is a company, but they produce stablecoins for governments. They provide governments the tools to produce their own stablecoin. In Barbados, as an example, the Barbadian digital dollar, it's nothing more than the Barbados dollar backed one-to-one by the Barbados dollar, but just digital as a blockchain unit.
Unlike Ripple, I would guess there's no big pre-mine.
There's zero pre-mine. There's not possible. Well, the pre-mine happens at central bank. That's a
So the central bank is kind of like able to perform as a central bank, but in this crypto space, to the benefit of the entire archipelago.
Absolutely.
And you guys at Bit are facilitating that.
And it serves both
happen.
worlds, Max. It serves the old world of central banks, as it lets them have a bridge into crypto, and it serves the crypto world because it allows them to have the bridge into the traditional network. Because you can't take cash and convert cash, physical dollars, easy to Bitcoin. Or other forms of mathematical programmable currency. But in the world of central bank digital dollars, there's a direct bridge and a communicational path that can be built.
All right, fair enough. Now, you facilitated a relationship with Binance, the one-year-old cryptocurrency exchange already raking in billions. Why Bermuda?
Bermuda offered regulatory clarity, and I don't want to speak on behalf of Binance because it's not my company. Although I have a lot of respect for the CEO. When the Premier Bermuda made good on his promises to...
So let me get this straight. Binance is moving into Bermuda.
Binance doesn't have a single headquarters. As CZ, the CEO, would have explained it, Binance exists in many parts of the world with different types of services in different parts of the world. They're looking to do what I believe is compliance in Bermuda, which Bermuda has a lot of compliance officers, a very large set of compliance officers. So it's quite ideal for them from that perspective.
Does that bring in more, I guess, volume and business? So it's a good as far as your point of view.
For the island of Bermuda, it brings in jobs, it brings in economic growth, it puts them on the map. I mean, the fact that you're mentioning it shows that they've become a little bit more known.
Well, I'm looking to get an all-paid vacation. Well, no, actually, I shouldn't say that. Maybe a bathing suit.
Yeah, well,
I think that would fall under the threshold of what would be reasonable in this situation. Maybe hook me up with a Speedo.
Yeah, I can organize
with
that.
the flag on the Speedo. I mentioned earlier I have excellent... Anyway, let's move on. Charlie Munger accuses you, as a cryptocurrency trader, are a demented who harvests baby brains. How do you respond?
Well, we're changing the world, so if that makes us demented, we're changing the world for the better. And these guys have had a chance to do it, and they did nothing. And that's the truth, Max. They've had decades to change the world and to make a difference.
Right, so Charlie Munger, for context, he is the partner of Warren Buffett over there at Berkshire Hathaway.
I'm aware of his statements that he recently made.
And he and Warren have been bad-mouthing crypto. And
they're wrong. And Bill Gates was there as well, Bill Gates is a hero of mine. And considering some of the things that he wrote back in '95 along the lines of digital currencies will help the unbanked nations. And we're literally helping unbanked nations in the Caribbean and around the world with other central banks towards this exact mission of being able to solve people's problems.
Right, and Bill Gates is a twice convicted predatory monopolist. I'm not sure he's got a moral, soapbox on which to stand and lecture folks.
These guys, they've made their way in this world and they've done well, but they're definitely wrong. They're more than wrong. The mathematics in this system is pure and it's good, and at the end of the day, the consensus is amongst all of us.
Well, clearly there's a screw loose in that group because they said that, they would short it if they could. And yet it's easy to short Bitcoin. There's plenty ample ways to short Bitcoin. So they haven't even spent 5 minutes doing any research. Nouriel Roubini makes comments about it, obviously never looking at anything to do with the white paper. Paul Krugman looks at this, and he's famously said the internet would be as popular, useless, and never go anywhere. And they have no feeling whatsoever for these technological revolutions.
have to ask these guys to explain something as novel in this field as public-private key pair encryption,
Right.
and watch them fumble. And then if they can't even get their heads around that concept, and then who are you to judge math-based currencies or protocols?
Right. So what is your 5 years from now? What is going to be happening in your world? What are your goals? What's your 5-year plan?
A bit or personal?
Well, both. I mean, because I think you two, the bit and you are kind of,
Synonymous?
you know, together in a big way. Where's this going to go in 5 years? Give us the picture.
Well, for BIT, I see most central banks and monetary authorities adopting the BIT process and the procedures towards issuance of their national currency base. I see more bridges being built out between digital assets and digital currencies and central bank digital systems. I see BIT finalizing on its multilateral clearing facilities between unions, for example, CARICOM. And I see BIT being
What was that?
the Caribbean community. The Caribbean has one of the strongest trade unions in the world called CARICOM. And BIT can help unify that under a single
The trade unions.
Yes.
Okay,
Similar to
so here's this interesting angle, because typically the folks that are working for a living look at the crypto space, they see the Lambos and they see all the cover stories on the business magazines, and they don't think there's anything in it for them. You would argue that there is something very important in it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? I mean, you can look into this thing and just see Lambos and 10Xs and moonshots from those who want to scream
But
towards
for
that.
the working guy,
But for the working guy, the main thing is right now that there's so many different industries that can be disrupted and evolved with blockchain technology.
transparency,
Transparency, accountability, integrity. But
plus the crypto you get, purchasing power is not inflated away by the central bank.
But that's quite important.
You get savings, real money.
Especially in the field of what we're doing. We're allowing central banks to issue their digital dollar. But now you're providing a bridge between one of the, in my opinion, safest asset classes in the world, Bitcoin.
Fantastic. I mean, this is such a multifaceted story. And when you're in the space as you are, you get to wear the camo jacket, and you also get to wear the Bitcoin socks. I think that the Bitcoin socks need to get a shot of the Bitcoin socks. This is the kind of forward-looking fashion statement that crypto pioneers can wear in public and get, you know, big applause for it. But anyway, we got to go. Gabriel, thanks so much for being on the Kaiser Report.
Max, thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Kaiser Report with me, Max Kaiser, and Stacey Herbert. I want to thank our guest, Gabriel Abed. He's co-founder of BIT, a Barbados-based crypto fintech company making waves in the Caribbean. Until next time, bye, y'all.